Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I hope you had time to get yourself some coffee and tea and are now ready for the last session of our virtual SASSETA 2021 roadshows. Before we start with our final stretch, ladies and gentlemen, I want to repeat the rules of engagement so that we are all on the same screen, so to speak. Before the proceedings, all attendees' audio links will be muted. All delegates are welcome to send in their written questions via the chat box at the bottom of your Zoom window. Please state your name and surname, as well as affiliation to SASSETA before you even type your questions. We will endeavor to answer as many questions as possible during the virtual Q&A session after every presentation. We will also upload all answers to the SASSETA website after the session. The entire roadshow video session will be uploaded to SASSETA website for future review and for delegates that were not able to attend these sessions. Please note the link in the Zoom chat box below to download the program of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now take this opportunity to welcome Mr. Manda Sitlangu, one of our ETQA, that is Education and Training Quality Assurance Practitioners, who will present to you our ETQA procedures as well as accreditation processes.
Thank you, Program Director. I'm going to take you through the ETQA presentation. Our presentation is as follows: delegation of authority, occupational qualification framework, and accreditation. Delegation of function by the QCTO. According to the above acts, the QCTO has delegated the quality assurance of functions to all SETAs. SASSETA still continues to accredit training providers for legacy qualifications, which expires 31st June 2021, and others expires 2023. All legacy qualifications are going to be replaced by occupational qualification. What it means is that all our current unit standard qualification are going to be replaced by occupational qualification. All unit standard qualification are going to be phased out. Occupational qualification framework. DQP SASSETA is a body delegated by QCTO to develop occupational qualification, specific document, curriculum, and assessment specification. SASSETA will have to appoint a QDF. A QDF is a qualification development facilitator who is registered by the QCTO to facilitate the development of occupational qualification. The QDF cannot do this on its own. He needs people from the industry, whom are being called CEPs or subject matter experts. These people are within the relevant industries. Wherever a qualification needs to be realigned or developed, these people must take part. These are the people that need to guide the QDF on what to capture, on what to write on this qualification. Without the assistant, you won't be able to do so. And these people must have at least more than 5 years work-related experience within that particular field or sector in order for them to be qualified or to be called subject matter expert or CEPs. The DQP stands for SASSETA. They will coordinate and fund the qualification development process. Who do we fund? The QDF. It doesn't do it for free. The SETA needs to appoint that person, and that person must be funded or paid. And the QDF cannot do it alone. You also need to be partnered with a learner QDF. A learner QTF is someone who's willing to become a qualified QTF. So in order for that person to become a qualified QTF, need to work with a registered qualified QTF with QCTO. They work together, they design and realign that qualification together. Once that process of realigning the qualification is done, the stakeholders, we call the stakeholders again, we call in the QCTO. We do what? The verification process of the qualification that is being realigned. Once all the members are happy with that, the qualification can then be submitted to QCTO. But then the DQP still need to submit the process report to QCTO together with the following document: the curriculum document, assessment specification document, process report, and progress report, including the attendance register of all the meetings. Without the attendance register, the QCTO will reject the application. Say, no. Where are the members? Were the stakeholders invited? Then if you don't keep your attendance registry, then your application won't be accepted. The members of the industry must be invited. The unions, the workers, employers, the training providers must take part of that. The function of the AQP, we're still going to manage external summative assessment as we're currently doing, develop assessment instruments, and report on external summative assessments. These are the processes that need to be followed in order to start the realignment process. Part one of the process, the stakeholders identify the qualification, submit the request for realignment or develop a new qualification to SASSETA. It's not SASSETA who chose which qualification must be realigned or developed. It's the stakeholders. SASSETA received the request and then submit on your behalf to QCTO. Once QCTO is happy, after they received your application, SASSETA and QCTO, then they will sign an MOU. Once that MOU is signed, it's a sign off to say, SASSETA, go ahead. You can start with realignment. Then SASSETA has to appoint a QDF. You cannot start realignment process without a QDF. The SETA will coordinate the realignment process. We invite our stakeholders, we engage with them, we ensure that everybody within that particular sector or industry is being invited. No one must be left aside. Once that is done, the whole process have folded, then the SASSETA will submit the approval of the whole document to QCTO. Once that has been identified to say that which qualification need to be realigned or developed, all the stakeholders get invited. We do the scoping and we do the profiling. We can even go to our older qualification, the current one, the unit standard qualification, and verify things that were there but were not relevant or not important. It's either we remove or we add. The older qualification can still guide us, things that were good to us and things that were not. So while we do our scoping, we sit amongst each other. We engage with the qualification. We look at the important factors. Is this important to our learners? Is our learners going to benefit from this that is in the qualification? If not, we take it off. If new things, we put it in. And remember, the qualification that's going to be designed, it's for the industry, not for the SETA. The SETA now is assisting in ensuring that the qualification is designed according to the needs of the sector or the industry. So when that happened and learners have been trained, the industry will be happy to say that these learners were trained according to our qualification and we are happy with the outcomes. And according to QCTO, when this qualification or occupational qualification is being realigned, They must ensure that there's knowledge module in place, practical skills module, including workplace experience module. If all three modules are not included in that qualification, the QCTO is not going to approve your qualification. And please note that you can also include skills programs, part qualifications into the qualification that you want to realign. Similar with our current unit standard qualification. Learners can be trained under unit standard or skills programs or part qualification. So according to QCTO, you can design a qualification that will include part qualification as well as skills programs. And the final document must ensure that it has a curriculum document, a qualification document, as well as external assessment specification document. That is what QC want to see when you say now we're submitting our final document. Occupational qualification module. As I've mentioned previously, your knowledge module, practical skills module, workplace experience module. What QCTO is saying is that when you enroll your learners, they get enrolled, they do knowledge module, it's a must do. After they've done the knowledge module, they've taken to place to do the practical skills module. They can do that within the training center by the training provider. Once that is done and cover those two, the learners have to be taken to workplace exposure, where they have to do the work, the actual work. Once the three components are covered, that's when your learners will go and write the final summative assessment. After all those three components have been covered. We have the following qualification that, as we speak, are currently registered with the QCTO. So it differs according to the relevant sector. Correctional services, SAPS, or private sector. So it would depend which sector you are from. All these 5 qualifications are currently registered as occupational qualification with their new SAQA ID code. When you're looking for security officer, there's no way you can go back and search it with the old historical qualification ID code. There's a new code now, which is 110866. That's a new code for occupational qualification. Let's now move to qualification that are recommended for registration, where we have paralegal. So it means now the current national certificate in paralegal, the one that is due to expire now in June 2021, is going to be replaced by the current qualification under occupational qualification. And once that is done and registered, it means you're all welcome to go to QCTO to apply for accreditation, not to SASSETA. SASSETA want quality assure occupational qualification. We also have military police. It's also been submitted for recommendation to SAQA. And we have the following qualification that are pending registration by the QCTO and SAQA. We have close protector and locksmithing. They've been designed, evaluated, and submitted. They're only waiting for approval. The following qualification are within the QCTO of evaluation. Family law practitioner, resolving of crime. They've been submitted, waiting for evaluation. And we have the following qualification, which are currently being realigned into occupational qualification. Our first qualification is electronic security. Second one is diploma in policing, correctional science, and specialized security. And we have the following qualification, of which are being proposed for future realignment. Once we are finished with those ones that we are currently doing, then we're going to move on to these ones. The first one is corporate officer and asset forfeiture, crash investigator, conveyancing, security management, law enforcement, sheriffing, and military operation. If maybe you have a qualification that you want to realign, but it's not projected or it's not mentioned, you are more than welcome to send a request to ETQA department for that particular qualification to be realigned. Or if you have a qualification that currently is not available, but you want that qualification to be developed, you are still more than welcome to contact the ETQA to apply for that new qualification into occupational qualification. The role of the ETQA, we are still delivering according to DHEAD, SAQA, and QCTO's mandate. We accredit training providers. We register assessors and moderators, and we certified learners, and monitor and verify accredited training providers. Accreditation requirements. These are the requirements for providers that seek accreditation to SASSETA. And we've put in some of the policies that are most important in order for your application to be considered for accreditation. Assessment and moderation, RPL, learner guidance and support, reassessment, appeal, HR including recruitment, selection and developmental, marketing and communication, administration, financial administration, occupational health and safety policy. Please ensure that when you appoint a responsible person for health and safety, must be a certified person to do so. Without that, your application will be rejected. You must make sure that when you appoint your instructors and facilitators are qualified to do so within their relevant field of experience and qualification. And you must have registered assessors and moderators with relevant jury standard and qualification. And you should have a signed MOU with those people. Verification process. The process of our external verifiers is to verify the authenticity of the learner result in order to deem them competent. Learners' portfolios will be checked and we check compliance. If there's non-compliance, the learner result won't be endorsed. And if the provider also is not complying, we won't endorse the learner results. As I've mentioned, our purpose to check authenticity amongst our training providers in order for us to endorse learner results. Verification process. The principles of assessment are very critical. This is what our external verifiers check when they do visit for verification. We check if the information provided is valid. Is it authentic? Is it sufficient? Is it current? If any of those is not there, the learner results are not going to be endorsed. Learner certification. We have put a balanced line for you to indicate the current differences. What's currently happening now is that our historical qualification are decreasing because of realigning into occupational qualification. According to QCTO, they once say that if one qualification is registered into occupational qualification, the historical one must fall away. We are closing getting there. And QCTO also mentioned that our training providers must start implementing the FISA, Final Summative Integrated Assessment, to ensure a national standard. So what it means that all training providers must write one exam, one test, to say that this learner has been found competent and we're happy that the learner has been found competent. And the certificate will be issued by the QCTO. Occupational qualification will be quality assured by QCTO, not SASSETA. Skills development training provider and accredited training centers will be accredited by QCTO, not by SASSETA. FISA will be quality assured by the QCTO, not SASSETA. And our current historical registered qualification learner certificate will be issued by the QCTO. So it means there will be a point where QCTO will take over the function of certifying our learners. Assessor and moderator registration requirements. We have a form that is available for you to complete, included with a certified ID copy. You can email or post or hand deliver your request for renewal of registration. Please note that there is no automatic registration. If you do not apply for renewal, your status will remain deregistered. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you very much, Mandla, for an informative ETQA presentation. We are now going to move over to the question and answer session for ETQA. But ladies and gentlemen, before we do that, can we request you to switch on your cameras for the next 5 minutes? Then after 5 minutes, you may switch off your cameras. We want to have a screen grab of everyone who is attending our session. Kindly switch on your cameras, please, for the next 5 minutes for us. We'll really appreciate that. Now we're going to move to the question and answer session for ETQA. And the first question that I have for Mandla is, Mandla, why do we have a delay with assessor and moderator registrations?
Okay, thank you, Chairperson. I think one of the common mistakes that is made from our applicant is that they don't certify the certificates. Their IDs and certificate are not being certified. And when they request registration, they do not list unit standard required. They also do not sign code of conduct. So that is some of the things that can make their application to delay. When the administrators receive their application without those things being done, obviously they have to put aside, and then she has to make a follow-up to tell them that, you know what, you need to submit the following outstanding documents. Those are the reasons why.
Thank you. And how are we doing now with the backlog?
No, with regards to the backlog, we don't have a backlog at the moment. We have tried our best to ensure that all the backlog have been fixed. Whoever has applied before the last quarter in December, they did receive their registration.
Okay, thanks a lot for that response. The next question for you, Mandla, is how does a training provider apply for the extension of a scope from another SASSETA?
Okay, this is how the process starts. You need to contact your primary ETQA, which is your main SASSETA. Inform them that you want to apply for program approval or extension of scope to SASSETA. Then they will give you an actual form that you have to complete, which is called a program approval form. Once you have completed that form, you send it back to them, not to SASSETA. We do not deal directly with the applicant immediately. Once the SASSETA receive the request from their main SASSETA, the primary SASSETA, that's when we start the engagement with the applicant. That's when we receive your form. After receiving your form, then we give you our own form that you need to complete. Once that form has been approved by the ETQA manager, then that's where we start the engagement with your application, and we give you all the required documents so we can start the process of getting program approval or extension of scope.
Thanks a lot. The next question, how do I do a branch application?
Okay, when you're an existing provider and you want to establish your company to a particular province, what you do, you inform us. We are going to give a single branch application form. In that form, you have to ensure that wherever you're opening a branch, there must be a responsible person in that particular branch, as assessors and moderator, as well as a signed lease agreement to that particular branch. And if you're applying for within the private sector, you need to ensure that that particular branch has its own PCRA certificates. And you can start with the actual process then of applying for branch application once we have those documents in order. Your QMS or assessors, facilitators, moderators must make sure that are in place, also including the lease agreement.
Okay,
and occupational health and safety.
Okay,
officer. Yes.
Thank you very much for that response. As a training provider, which process should I follow to change my physical address?
Okay, let's say you are accredited and you feel like wherever your training center was situated, there's no business, you want to move to another situated area, another area. What you do, you inform us. We give you a form that you need to complete. The request is that you must fill in that form. After you've completed that form, attach a new lease agreement. Take photos of that area. Have occupational health and safety person who is responsible for that facilities, and you send them to us. Once our administrators receive that request, it goes to the practitioner for evaluation. We have to look at the lease agreement if it's valid. The photos, the decks, chairs, is the venue conducive for training. Once we're happy with all those things, then we place your request to monitoring visit. It's not an automatic thing. We place your application to monitoring visit. Once the schedule has been approved, then we go and verify that new training center. Whoever's going to go to verify that training center, if it's happy with the facilities and the training is conducive, that's when then you get an approval letter to say that your new training center can be approved now, and you have a letter to confirm for that.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question, must the current assessors and moderators be registered? And if so, when to register?
Well, you can make an application anytime. Just need to ensure that all the required documents are there. You have certified your certificate, you have signed the code of conduct, you have listed the list, list of unit standard, and you have also ensured that you have attached a comprehensive CV, so that there won't be those back and forth with the administrator telling that your CV is not comprehensive or it's not detailed enough. We need to ensure that your work experience is well detailed in your application as well as in your CV.
Okay, that was quite comprehensive, Mandla. Thank you very much. We are almost towards the end, but can I ask this from you? Okay. What else do you want to share with the delegates out there around ETQA-related issues?
Well, all I can say at the moment, what is currently happening is that we are moving away from our current unit standard qualification. We are moving into occupational qualification through QC2O. So don't be surprised when times comes and you've been told that you need to apply for accreditation to QC2O. Times has come, we are changing into occupational qualification soon. And realignment of those qualifications has already been started. We've got the +5 qualifications that are already registered with QC2O and SAQA.
Okay, thanks a lot, Mandla. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I think Mandla have tried to deal with as much questions as possible, but in case you have other questions, keep them rolling. We will respond to them and paste them on the SASSETA website. Thanks a lot, Mandla. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to move over to the next presentation. Thank you.